Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Continuing our special coverage on the preparatory meetings of the Arab Islamic ministers meeting in Qatar. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Mr. Mohamed Shata, the international affairs expert. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
How are you, sir? Mr. Shata, what are your expectations concerning the impact of the strikes of the Israeli strikes on Qatar that is going to be high on the agenda of the Arab Islamic ministers meeting?
Well, we have already seen on the international community, and we have seen the reaction of most of the countries, of course, with the exception of the United States of America and Israel, and all the countries, including the major players in Europe, as well as, of course, all the Arab countries. They were criticized this hideous and this unlawful attack in the highest words, and the credibility of Israel has now suffered even more than what it has been suffering over the past 2 years, specifically since October 7th, and the famine which they caused, which is a man-made famine, which was criticized even by the United Nations heavily during the past couple of weeks. So I think Israel did not do themselves a favor. They did not do the United States a favor. And as many voices said before, I think it is a clear intention of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to bombard any ceasefire agreement. This is not the first time that he has sabotaged close deals of ceasefires by his reckless actions and his reckless decisions, and I think this is just another trial of him to sabotage the ceasefire agreement so he could hold to the power inside Israel.
Yes, Mr. Shata, of course you are an expert in international relations, so some actions may have positive impacts and negative impacts. Not only negative, it could have a positive impact. For example, can we expect a positive impact that after the Israeli strikes on Qatar, we could see an agreement or a treaty signed on unified Arab defense for all the Arabs? On the contrary, the negative impact is that Qatar have withdrew from being a mediator in the ceasefire agreement. What's your comment?
I think this is nothing new. Even President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi demanded this at many occasions, that the Arab nations should get
have
together.
A unified defense force. Yes.
So yes. This is something he demanded several times before. Even before we saw this ugly behavior of the Israeli government and the right extremists in the government, as well as the reckless attitude of the Israeli Prime Minister. And I think this is also something which even the Qatari Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Al-Thani mentioned recently in his press conferences and press statements, that the Arab countries must discuss now a common action in terms of security, in terms of economic decisions, and of course also in terms of defense issues. And I think that it was very clear, the statements of the different GCC heads of state in the recent days, that this is something they should definitely discuss. We saw that Israel is not afraid, and they even their representative at the United Nations meeting a couple of days ago, he even threatened Qatar again to hit the Hamas leadership again if they stay in Qatar. And he not only threatened Qatar, but he also threatened all the other nations. This includes also the Arab nations indirectly, that they would not be afraid to target them and attack them in order to eliminate the Hamas leadership. And this is, of course, something which many countries will take into serious consideration, because the Israeli government and their representatives, they have reached a level of audacity which is unprecedented before. They think they can do anything they want anywhere in the world without being questioned or without being held accountable, and this is something which has to be changed. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi even demanded recently that it's about time to consider a restructuring of the United Nations Security Council, and because it is not clear, and it does not make sense that all the major decisions of the United Nations can be boycotted by one of the 5 members of the Security Council, which is in most cases, unfortunately, the United States of America.
Yes.
So this is something which definitely will be taken into consideration, not only by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, but I think also the heads of state of the GCC and other Arab countries will definitely also approve such an restructuring of the United Nations Security Council.
Yes, Mr. Shata, concerning the stance of Hamas themselves, actually we know, of course, the stance of Israel, that it's always spoiling the ceasefire agreement. But concerning Hamas and what happened recently of the Israeli strikes on Qatar, while they were meeting for a ceasefire, to reach a ceasefire agreement, what do you expect from the reaction or the impact of this on the stand of regarding a ceasefire agreement for Hamas?
Hamas actually does not have many options. I think the only option they have is to continue the ceasefire agreement, because the only useful cards they currently have in their hands are the living hostages. So, and they know this very well, because this is why I think they will do their best to keep these hostages alive, because we even saw now that even while Israel expects at least 20 living hostages still to be alive, they still did not back off from targeting the leadership, which are currently leading the negotiations. I mean, so they don't really don't really care about the leadership, and Hamas knows that the Israeli government does not care about the leadership, and they also know that they don't care about the hostages. And even the families of the hostages even said this themselves during the past couple of days since the last attack on Qatar, that Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet do not care about the hostages. So they will try to continue the negotiations. They will try to convince the Western parties like the USA and Europe that they are willing to continue the negotiations and reach a ceasefire in order, in their opinion, to stay alive for one thing, and the second thing, maybe even stay in control of Gaza, which of course most of the countries, especially the United States and most of the and Europe, of course, they refused it. And and probably also most of the Arab countries will refuse this as well. After we saw the results of October 7th and all the devastation and the destruction and the famine which we've seen in the aftermath of October 7th in Gaza.
Yes, I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Mr. Mohamed Shata, International Affairs expert. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, with this we come to the end of the special edition of our coverage. Please stay tuned for more updates on ITV International. My name is Alan Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.